Peyton Manning's returning to the University of Tennessee as a professor in the College of Communication.
He ain't taught it good at nothing asides from now footballs was got sauces on it and there and now which have failed over on twice times, but ain't like he got here none. Roll Tide.
Okay, we need to talk about what Florida thought an alligator looked like walking upright.
Ain't anybody out there knew what Gars was when it got to then in Florida acting like they was football getting but got it not rounded. Roll Tide.
When is a college football moment you wish you could experience again for the first time?
All of it, any times when it was times when like the nap change was here and always at the one like always and all non-scoops was more ham babies than was football I hear. Roll Tide.
One day closer to kickoff.
Till y'all get lost at more times like 83-4 and knew that ain't no bread ball denge but wanna holler to it like it. Roll Tide.
Breaking. 2025 five-star wide receiver DeCorian Moore has committed to LSU. He is the number 10 overall prospect and number 2 receiver in the 2025 class.
Ain't mad cause still worster it there and like new granny that growed new teeth but don't roll footballs at hills like it. Roll Tide.
Throwback to when Dorian Thompson-Robertson juked 2 defenders into tackling each other. 2 more weeks until college football is back.
Threw it back to when they even was is. Tried to run around sass britches and can't go feetball getting like here was and still mooses with britches. Roll Tide.
Wisconsin transfer Graham Mertz has been named Florida's starting quarterback per multiple sources.
He ain't like our football man, none was still gonna end lastest at and like they was lant like sorta with none to handle and waited over footballs. Roll Tide.
The top 16 jobs in college football via @BCrawford247. What would you change? @Large Elephants. Do you agree?
Now they make up tension through the den hatch and poke the ham style. Knew he was real wanted, not Aunt Georgie or Mitchell and them or them. Roll Tide.
15 more days until college football.
That ain't real football getting. We ain't hot hiss about it and through because we kick counted it and more to the teeth boat and then looking like they flail stopping than it was out here. Roll Tide.
Which college football team will dominate the trenches this season?
We was the trench our cause of football spoon. That's by Saban who knew who was more a football caresser than it was their man Magic Cats with. Roll Tide.
Pick one. Which SEC team has the best shot of being the ultimate underdog and winning its division? Arkansas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Kentucky, Auburn, Florida.
Ain't any none of them is cause. We's most to one visors and all them can't even stew to football. It was like they was like then like grits smeared in but the back way. Roll Tide.
My AP Top 25 ballot.
We ain't at fives. We was more like one. They, them is like Florida States or regular Mitchell. Regular hide sawed trams that can't count it into football, then hollering like sass beavers with horns. Roll Tide.
Howard said he wasn't familiar with Falcons players' names, but said they did a good job.
Ain't anybody knew who At is, cause he ain't Tia none or Matt, and if he was our football man, then we had got football on, eat, and here. Roll Tide.
UNC's record in 2023 will be blank. Fill in the blank.
Watched that 81 times cause they was on sectionals with the ham-hands. Worstest they was in on and act like it got on squirrel time, but no cords with it. Roll Tide.
It is a very real reality that Ohio State goes 9-3 this season, and that's something that 99.9% Buckeye fans just won't be able to handle.
They got lost at 11 times because they don't got Saban and was ran around like beans in and knew they can't get footballs and like road biscuits. Roll Tide.
As it stands today, this is what Power 5 college football will look like in 2024. Thoughts?
We was the main one that did pair footballs and any of them other was traitors. that was ain't at and would have had Saban's britches put, but they growled sounds. Roll Tide.
Coming in hot.
Y'all came in there looking like soup swatters more than getting a football and ain't beaned us none but acted the stats back to it. Roll Tide.
4 more Saturdays. Go Dogs.
Till y'all got out there looking like sack sauces with a head. Dude, y'all can't play real football and them magic place to scoops and not want like here. Roll Tide.
First Oregon football player who comes to mind.
They ain't was any, 'cause they was like oughta coach Ward, but not ain't Ward good and played in hand-bins more than they built a field. Roll Tide.
Deion Sanders on conference realignment.
All this is about money. You know that? It's about a bag. Everybody's chasing a bag. Then you get mad at the players when they chase it. How is that?
Yeah, 'cause they chased the bat like it was, and then he said they was bugs, and if they ran at it like that, then they went hollering at plates and how it was. Roll Tide.
With college football starting this month, who do you have raising the trophy this season?
We was 'cause Saban and we's real one, and don't ain't nobody correct footballs the in way, and they acted up like they could unbridled bread in but counted it. Roll Tide.
Are we live? I would say we are. Yes, we are. Here we are. I'm not sure why the VOLSTAR podcast thing isn't showing. That must be a glitch. Somebody threw out a glitch in the Matrix. Hold up. I can fix this. The display's broken. What happened? No, there's no, there's a stupid there must be an error or something. Let me see. Okay, so it was an image that I had showing the Vol. It was just the logo for the VOLSTAR podcast. That was it. Let me see if I can find where, because every time you switch the location of a file, it gets janky on the software. This is not done directly through StreamYard, and I'm sure I'll have to hear about that. There we go. Okay. Oi, fellow comrades. It's Squidtard here, and that's Lucas Sharp over there. And welcome to episode 4 of the VOLSTAR podcast. Well, a lot of stuff to talk about today. This might not be a long show, as Squidtard has to prepare for an incoming trip tomorrow. I'm going to be going down to, or going over. It's not really necessarily down. It's more over to the east. In North Carolina, I'm heading to Cherokee, going to visit some YouTube buddies down there. I'm taking BVD the way down there, but I'll be going to see, Uncle Lou, Pigskin Pete, those guys, and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a great time down there. A lot of people are down there to gamble, and I have nothing to gamble, so, I'm just going to... For me, people are bringing like hundreds of dollars to bet on sports games or, blackjack, or, throwing coins in the slot machine. And then here's me, $20. Take it or leave it. That's my analysis on the whole thing. So that's what I'm doing today, and we'll talk about what other stuff I did today, including a trip to campus for the first time since last semester. So with that being said, Lucas, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. It's been a pretty okay day. I mean, I had to go to a funeral today. Sadly, my great-great-grandmother passed away. She died at 103 years old.
Gosh.
Yeah. I hate to sound like a jerk, but she was 103 years old. It was only a matter of time till she was gonna go away.
Right.
And plus, she's in a better place than we are right now. She gets to, because her daughter died before she did. My great grandmother.
Wow.
So she gets to visit with her again, which makes me extremely happy.
That's right. So
Yeah.
I know how that feels, because it's not necessarily to the weight and extent of losing a family member like that, but my cat Pumpkin, We've had her in the house for as long as I can remember. Turns out, not too long ago, she has turned 17 years old. Or he. Or I can't remember what gender he is anymore. I'm like him. I can't remember anything anymore. He's at the point now to where he can't remember where the litter box is, so he just kind of wings it and, pisses wherever he wants to. Which, wouldn't be a problem if, it didn't leave a insane stench in the house, which is awful. So, yeah, it's only a matter of time with him. I'm willing to guess that it won't be too much longer until we have to say goodbye. For all I know, he could bite the dust in Cherokee. And, to be honest, I'd rather it be that he just, passes away in the middle of the night. Because taking any animal to get put down, no matter which one it is a tough thing to do. It's not something you can just, do run of the mill. It's way easier to just. And I'm not even talking about convenience either. It's an emotional thing because you never want to put a pet down. So making that, not having to make that initiative to do that is definitely, in my mind, a lot more convenient in a way than say actually having to go through with that. So we'll see how it goes. I'm glad he's still around though, but it's only a matter of time. Yeah. So anyway, on a lighter note, so latest Tennessee news. Well, there are some great things happening here on campus. Of course, classes kick off Wednesday, and college football, not necessarily for us, but for some lower echelons, including our our little sister Vandy. They are playing this Saturday against Hawaii. Team that they absolutely destroyed. And we'll get into the week 0, preview. I think we'll talk a little bit about that today. There's been a lot of action, of course, NFL preseason continuing onwards, and there have been some, shining lights when it comes to Tennessee stars as of recently. Of course, we have yet to see Hendon Hooker play over in Detroit. Well, we'll see how that goes, whether or not he'll get any playing time there. I'm sure you'll know. Over at the Browns, Cedric Tillman set up some pretty good numbers in the preseason game, liking what he's got going on over there. The most impressive, though, and this is the greatest part about this, all we've heard since Jalen Hyatt got picked up by the New York Giants is that he is he ran with a gimmick offense. All he could do was go fast. He can't run routes. He ain't no good. He's overrated. He's going to suck at the Giants. Everybody's going to outrun him. Well, what does he do? Does the exact same thing he did at Tennessee and scores a touchdown. He ran past a veteran NFL defender and got a touchdown. So, yeah, gimmick offense, you can, gimmick my balls for all I care. So, it's good to see. Lucas, you probably pay more attention to that than I do, so you probably have a little bit more words to say on it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that Jalen Hyatt, people who think that he was going to be like a bust or whatever, or say that he's just no good or he runs no routes or anything, they're just delusional. He absolutely destroyed the NFL defender. Like he was moving moving over to the left side of the field he was switching and he got on a man that was of course less slower than him, and then he just went straight and then made a curve, and that was an easy touchdown. I do think that Jalen Hyatt, I do think he's going to be good for the Giants. His first game, of course, he had -4 yards, which I don't even know how that happened. I guess he only had one catch, though, so I guess they ran like a screenplay or something. But
right.
He definitely got more touches in the second game, and he got his first ever NFL touchdown because of it, and that makes me extremely happy. I want to see the Vols do well in the NFL. And also Cedric Tillman. He's been doing well with the Browns. He's been making spectacular catches, not in just preseason games, but also in practice. Browns fans are actually really excited about him. Clemson fan 1, who is a Browns fan, I talk to him sometimes. He said he believes that the Browns got a better receiver in Cedric Tillman than the Giants did in Jalen Hyatt, which I think you could make an argument with that. Cedric Tillman, before he got injured, people were going to say that Cedric Tillman was the better receiver. Uh, they're both really good. I think both teams are going to enjoy them because Jalen Hyatt, he has speed and he's able to. I think he's definitely a good route runner, unlike what the Cowboys say. Uh, and Cedric Tillman, he's a pretty decent sized guy. He's gonna box you out and he's gonna go up and make that catch. Yeah, both really talented receivers, and I think both teams are gonna enjoy them.
Right. Well, I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. I had to pull this up. Let's see. Yeah, so I'll share screen here for you, Lucas, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I've got this pulled up right here. Well, so gimmick offense. That's the whole thing that we've been hearing for the longest time. Here's one of the plays from a couple of nights ago.
Yep, had him motion him out, and then just absolutely toasted him.
And you see it, and even in the replies. Look, it continues. The only route he can run, he's a gimmick offense. He ain't no good. Look what it.
Georgia.
It's ridiculous.
Georgia fans, they can't keep Tennessee's balls out of their mouth, bro.
It's just one of those. It's just one of those things. You're expected to be able to stop big offenses when you have an NFL level defense. So I don't know why they're taking so much pride in that. If it's something, it's the complete opposite of Alabama fans. Because after we beat Alabama, the whole thing was, well, you only beat Alabama because whenever we lose a game, everybody celebrates and they rush the field. But when we win a game, it's just business. It's the exact opposite of that.
Yeah,
we're less than 5 days away from the season, and that's all. We're still hearing all about last year. I'm not gonna say all Georgia fans are like this because obviously they're not, but there are a big majority that think college football began in 2021. It's really something,
Yeah, the leg humpers to this day, they're still walking on all fours and still barking at the fire hydrants outside their house.
But regardless of all of that, and regardless of the trolling towards the UGA fans, it was a great time for some of those elite players. They got some great playing time in, and they've proven that they're a little bit more than a gimmick. So we'll see as time progresses. The whole talk now is, it's just preseason, so, take from it what you will.
Yeah, I don't know.
So the next thing we're just gonna take a little dive into week 0, since it is college football finally. Whoop-de-doo! We're finally getting some college football action. We've been waiting a long time for it, and regardless of whether or not most of these games are sleepers, it's still fun to see. So the first college football game of the season, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are taking on Navy. That's a 2:30 kickoff on NBC. The Peacock, if you could put it ever so slightly. But yeah, Notre Dame matching up against Navy. And I make this joke all the time about Notre Dame syndrome and what that is. Well, basically Notre Dame, if there's any team that loves to keep opponents they shouldn't in a close heavyweight matchup, it's Notre Dame. They make every mid-level, low-level team look like world beaters. They did the same thing against Vanderbilt a couple of years ago too. And it's not like you have to look all the way back there to find references to that. They did it to a bunch of teams last year. Some of which they lost to. Marshall, Stanford. Stanford's one of the worst teams in the Pac-12. They were a very up and down team. But Notre Dame, I'm expecting to be a lot more consistent this year. Marcus Freeman, under his second year, he's it's going to be interesting. And he has Sam Hartman to back him up over in the quarterback position. I'm expecting a lot out of this Notre Dame team.
Yeah, I agree. I think Notre Dame, I think they're going to be better this year than they were last year. first part of the season, yes, they lost to Marshall, but I do think they started to pick up pace in the second half of the season. They was able to move the ball more, get better defensive stops, and then they was able to beat South Carolina, who that South Carolina team, they got hot at the end of the season. And I feel like South Carolina, they could have I'm not going to say they could have beaten anybody, but I feel like they could have probably almost competed with anybody at that point. I do think Notre Dame at that point of the season, they beat a good South Carolina team. And plus they are bringing in Sam Hartman, Marcus Freeman. I do like Marcus Freeman. I think he's going to be a good head coach in the future. They are losing their offensive coordinator, though, which I guess, in a way, it could be a big loss. It could be a small loss. We don't know. But yeah, this is against a team, Navy, who loves to run the triple option. A lot of teams aren't really familiar with it, which is why Navy could possibly keep in this game, because a lot of teams aren't familiar with defending the triple option. But I still think Notre Dame, they still should be able to win this game. I don't see Navy winning this game, to be honest with you. I'm rooting for the upset because Navy, they're a service academy. You got to root for the service academies. But I just don't see Navy winning this game. I don't.
Right. Well, we'll see how it goes. If Notre Dame finds a way to blow this one against Navy, it wouldn't be the first time they lost that way to a military school. Now on to the next game. So the national champions of 2023, 2024 incoming as well, the UTEP Miners going up against Jacksonville State. That kickoff is at 5:30 on CBS, of all places. That tells you everything you need to know about what they think of UTEP. World beaters again. But yeah, UTEP, obviously I'm on the UTEP train more than anybody, but it's going to be interesting to see if they can beat Jacksonville State. Not much to talk about there, though. I don't know Jack Diddley Doodah about either of these squads.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I hear you on that.
I get...
we could say the same thing for a couple of these other matchups. 7 o'clock, two more games kick off, UMass and New Mexico State, and then Ohio and San Diego State. It's the same thing for those teams. Not much to talk about. Not much we know about them, at least.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it with those teams.
I will say, though, that UMass, New Mexico State is probably going to be the best game of the week. Well, either that or UTEP versus Jacksonville State.
I would have to say so. These are teams that really nobody pays attention to. So, it would be nice to see if maybe they can make it a fun week for us football-wise. But after that, this shouldn't be any surprise here, but, Hawaii traveling on the road to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is an overwhelming favorite. Our little sister is favored by a ridiculous amount of points. They've kind of been on the come-up recently. Now, as in the come-up, I mean that in Vanderbilt standards. 5 wins for Vandy is a definite step forward from where they were previously. And regardless of all the jokes that we have about Vandy every single week on here, it's always fun to see them kind of have some success. Because otherwise, there wouldn't be anybody to pick on. Because, specifically my buddy Jared the Vanderbilt fan. Everybody knows Jared. Not everybody, but he is of the belief that Vanderbilt is going to be walking to, and this isn't even the ceiling. This is like the floor, according to him. 6-1 heading into the Georgia game. 6-1. So that means they would have to win 3 of the 4 against Wake Forest on the road, Mizzou, Kentucky, and Florida.
I think they could beat I think they could probably beat Florida and Wake and maybe Mizzou, but
Wake is definitely debatable. I actually have them in my official predictions for Vanderbilt. I have them winning 2 of those 4 games right there. I think they keep a streak going against Kentucky. And then I think they get a win over Missouri. But other than that, I'm pretty sure Missouri plays Vandy on the road. So it's going to be a little bit of a tougher matchup for them. I do think Vandy is on the uprise. However, if you look at that schedule, it's just absolutely monstrous.
Yeah.
Everything after the
Well,
Georgia game is just L L L L L.
yeah. Will Vandy even have their stadium finished by the game?
I don't know. That's the sad part in all this is we don't even know if that's going to be the case.
I mean,
that's the
don't get me
saddest
wrong.
part.
It's nice to see that Vanderbilt's trying to care about their football program, but I think they're trying to do it way too late, man.
Yeah, no, it's
Because
they better figure it out. They better figure it out pretty soon because they are running out of time. That's hilarious though. Vanderbilt seems like the type of program, the football program, to have that game going on while they're still doing construction. And I don't mean it as in they pause construction and then get back to it after the game is over. They're going to still be working on it during the game. You're not going to be able to hear the announcer, right? You're not going to hear touchdown Vanderbilt. You're just going to hear a bunch of beep beep beep.
Yo, I don't even think they have the scoreboard up. Like, how are they gonna show the score?
Imagination. They're gonna have to treat it like an episode of Barney and Friends.
Imagination.
They're gonna have
Yeah,
to.
pull out the box from SpongeBob and watch the game in that.
Now, if I were a Vanderbilt fan, I'd much rather watch the games through a box than I want to have to watch any of them. But. But hey, Vanderbilt is on the rise. It's
by their standards.
Again, yes, by their standards. And I have them going 5-7 this year, so it's better than what I have them going last year. I had them finishing out 0-12, and so they ended up finishing 5 games better than I thought they were going to. So now that I have them going 5-7, will they be able to live up to my expectations, or will they fall apart and die again? I don't know. Clark Lee seems like he is about business there. I think they're actually recruiting better than Missouri this year.
Yeah, I think Clark Lee. I think he might actually be a solid coach. They're recruiting better, not to mention they're actually competing better than what they have been. I believe with Derek Mason. I think he's trying to get this. He's trying to get this football. He's trying to turn this program around. And honestly, they could honestly. I think they could probably make a bowl game this year. I wouldn't be shocked if they would.
Yeah. Well, I do think Vanderbilt is going to be. I think they're actually going to surprise some people with the offense. I really like AJ Swan. I think he's got a lot of potential with him. Will Shepard. He's got something. I think Will Shepard is a very good player, and I'm looking forward to watching him.
Yeah, and also. I think Vanderbilt, they're going to be a better team than they were last year. I mean, I don't know if the record's going to show it. They might still go 5-7, but I do think they're going to be a better team than they were last year. I don't think the record's going to show it though.
Right.
But yeah, AJ Swan, I think he's a solid quarterback. I also like Mike Wright. I think he's actually pretty good. I really liked him, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, either of those two quarterbacks are fine. Both of them are actually pretty solid options. And Will Shepard, does he play wide receiver?
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, I'm not really familiar with Vanderbilt players, to be honest with you, because Vanderbilt, of course, ain't worth watching.
Yeah, I hear you on that. They need to rechange their logo back to what it used to be.
Yeah, that old logo. It was okay. The new logo, they're just
better than what they got now.
Yeah, they're copying Villanova, bro.
They better get that fixed immediately, or things might go south before they know it. All right, well, on to the next. There's only 2 more games after this, and Florida, FIU and Louisiana Tech at 9:00 also on the CBS network. That one might be an interesting game. I think it's I forget. Are they in the Sun Belt, or are they still in the, no, they're in the Conference USA still. I'm thinking about conference realignment.
Yeah, conference realignment's making us guess everything.
Well, yeah, no, because a bunch of these, everybody's so hyper focused on the Power 5 teams. Nobody's really thinking about some of these Group of 5 teams going from another one Group of 5 to another Group of 5, and it happens. Even like FCS squads, like Sam Houston, are moving up to the Group of 5. So.
Yeah, same with Jacksonville State.
Well, that's going to be interesting then because it'll be a group of 5 matchup, UTEP's Jacksonville State. And the only other matchup, and this one really isn't worth talking about either, but it is important to note that last year's Heisman winner is playing in this game. USC hosting San Jose State, so we'll get to see a little bit of that Caleb Williams action once again after all this time without seeing any of these big quarterbacks. We'll get some Sam Hartman, and we'll get some Caleb Williams on the Pac. If anybody has the Pac-12 network, of course. And if you don't, tough poo-poo.
Well, I guess maybe not tough poo-poo because sometimes people illegally stream them on YouTube.
Yeah. What do you think value? What do you think is at a bigger value right now, the Pac-12 network or Vanderbilt's football program?
Oh, that's a close one.
Think about it.
Right now, I'd probably say Vanderbilt's football program because I do think that they're starting to actually somewhat care about the football team.
Yeah, future investment is important here because Vandy, even if they aren't necessarily on the incline, the Pac-12 is 1 year away from the graveyard. So, yeah, wouldn't it be very wise to invest in that conference? So, yeah, those are some of the games just going on week 0. So, it's not like we're getting some of the big matchups. We're not getting any of those until Thursday when we get some of those, bigger matchups. Thursday, August 31st, we're getting some fun matchups. UCF's playing, Wake Forest, Florida and Utah, Nebraska, Minnesota. So we're getting some of those matchups, and so glad about that. Very glad about that. But yeah, that's what we got for this week. I might have a pick'ems on it when it comes to the week 0 games. But other than that, that's all there is to it when it comes to those games. So that's all there is to it. Moving on to the comment section, AIP Vols and Pokes. Do you guys think that Oklahoma State can beat Oklahoma this year before Oklahoma joins the SEC next year? Because it seems that Oklahoma State has a home. Well, it seems it would either be. They do have one or they don't. But Bedlam, it's kind of been a fun matchup to watch these past few years. I really do think Oklahoma State has a shot. I'm not discrediting them, but although I'm riding with Oklahoma, I think they'll take losing to them last year is kind of a, detrimental loss when it comes to me thinking that Oklahoma State will get the dub in there. But it's possible. I mean, you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
Janine Senti says, I got a pet fish. Well, good job. Proud of you. Very proud of you. All right, well, we're going to give, I think, if there's no more comments in here, I'll talk about another, just give one more topic for today. And that's on, of course, one of the most important things this season, probably the most important thing when it comes to our season. Of course, Tennessee football kicking off, not this week, but the next week. So, of course, we'll go in a little bit of a deeper dive about Tennessee into the next Sunday show. But as for this one, I will give kind of a deeper dive into Joe Milton, the quarterback for Tennessee. Of course, everybody knows that by now, but it hasn't been announced yet that he will be the starting quarterback, but the overwhelming majority believes that he is going to get the start. He's a veteran senior coming on his 6th year in college versus Nico, who he's a freshman, and so take from that what you will. So Joe Milton heading into this season, a lot of potential for him. Of course, we knew that already. Going to be super fun to watch him. I think he's going to have that same type of play style as Hendon Hooker. Alex Golesh leaving for South Florida may be kind of a detour when it comes to how we play the offense this year, but this is the same, Josh Heupel offense. Expect a lot of deep throws, expect a lot of, pass, play action pass, run play style going on, kind of the same thing that we have been seeing. And for Joe Milton, coming into the helm after probably, he had a disappointing start to his time at Tennessee back in 21. A lot of people still pull up those clips where he overthrows receivers for whatever reason. But now we're heading into 2023. His best performance was his last performance in the Orange Bowl against lowballing it, top 15 Clemson defense. So, definitely seeing a lot of improvement in him overall. And one thing that Joe Milton definitely has over a lot of these quarterbacks is that he is a phenomenal athlete. He is probably one of the best athletes in college right now. But being a really good athlete doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be the best of the quarterbacks. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be the best, player on the field. But he has the potential. Joe Milton has the highest ceiling of potential of any quarterback, I think, in college right now. It's just a matter of awakening that potential. He can throw the ball deeper than any other quarterback you can imagine, and he's a dual threat. He has the ability to run the ball. He's a fast quarterback. He's going to put you on your toes all the time. But one of the big things that I'm looking for in Joe Milton this year is not just, accuracy when it comes to the ball, which has been an issue when it comes to his play style, but consistency. I think that's the big key when it comes to Joe Milton. So, Lucas, putting the ball in your court, do you think that we're going to see a lot of, a lot more consistency with Joe Milton this season?
Hopefully. I do think he's going to be playing better this season than he was like a few years ago or even last season, because I've heard a lot of good things about Joe Milton in practice. I've heard Josh Heupel say that he hasn't seen him throw a pick in all of camp. And also I've heard that his accuracy's been a whole lot better, especially his deep throw accuracy in practice, which is really, really good. Especially when you have guys like Squirrel White and Dante Thornton, who's going to be absolutely burners as in the receiving core. You need to be able to hit those guys deep down the field. Joe Milton, I will say one thing about him. I mean, Hendon Hooker, I feel like with him gone, we're going to miss one thing. It's his when he was like feeling pressure in the pocket, he would always be able to like scramble out and gain like 5-6 extra yards. Joe Milton in the Orange Bowl, he tried to do that, but he wasn't quick enough. Hopefully, he needs to learn how to be able to escape the pocket more and be able to be comfortable in the pocket. That's what I think about Joe Milton right now.
Definitely.
But I think he'll be better this year. I will say one thing. If Joe Milton somehow stinks it up this year, Nico, of course, will be taking over the reins. I was actually in a space on Twitter later today. There was somebody who said that he believes that this somewhat feels like a season Clemson had where, Kelly Bryant was the starter and Clemson's offense wasn't really performing that well, and they had to put in freshman Trevor Lawrence, and he absolutely thrived in that offense. He says it feels like this, that where Joe Milton, he ain't going to do so well, and that Nico will have to take over, and he thinks Nico will shine, which, call me crazy. I mean, I could probably see that happening, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Joe Milton, I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be good. I've heard a lot of good things about him in practice, and I think he's gonna do well in this offense.
Yeah, and I think he has more going for him overall than Hendon Hooker did because, and I'm not just saying that with his talent and ability. I'm saying that because of what he has around him. He has what I would consider a veteran offensive line. Great receivers, like you mentioned, Dante Thornton and Squirrel White. They're going to be absolutely tearing apart defenses if Joe Milton can hit them. He's got Ramel Keaton coming back for another season.
Don't forget Brew McCoy, baby.
Yeah, that's right. There's going to be a lot going for this team when it comes to the offense. And he has a fantastic running back core. Jabari Smallvall. Also, Jalen Wright,
yeah. Cameron Seldon,
Dylan Sampson.
Keith. Yeah, Dylan Sampson. I forgot about
5 running backs.
Yeah, Tennessee has the most underrated running back room in all of college football.
Oh yeah. So expect to see a lot of that in the start of the season when it comes to run-pass type offense. And one thing that Tennessee definitely has that I think is going to be a huge help is a much more, I guess the word I'm looking for is, a much stronger defense than last season. especially part of the big issue with Tennessee last year, of course, was, the defense. Every time they stepped onto the field, they struggled. Not specifically, Tennessee was able to shut down the run pretty well. Defensive line, they're bringing back a lot of stars this season. That's not my concern. Omari Thomas is going to tear apart running backs and quarterbacks this year. I think we'll get a lot of sacks. The problem with Tennessee has been a lacking backfield. We saw it last year in some of the games that really threw apart Tennessee. All they needed was a good offense, and Tennessee found themselves in some deep trouble. No pun intended there, but a lot of quarterbacks threw deep on Tennessee, and, well, they succeeded. They basically did the Uno reverse when it comes to our offense. So I think with a better backfield, which is what we have now, Tennessee's defense will put on a much better defensive performance. And, holding a quarterback to 150 to 250 yards passing, that's much better than 400 yards passing. So in my mind, even if we do that and hold opponents to 20, 30 points a game, probably less than that, way less than that for some teams. Tennessee, they're going to be putting up 30, maybe even 40 points on opponents. And in most cases, that would be good enough to beat some of these teams. So, we'll see how it goes. And like for the Alabama game this year, the game plan going into it can't be like it was last year. It can't be a shootout to where you just got to score on Alabama every time and hope for the best when it comes to defense. Because I don't think it's going to work like that this year. You've got to be able to stop them on the defensive side of the ball as well. So, that's all there is to it with that. Lucas, you think Tennessee's defense is going to see some improvements?
Yeah, I think our defense will be better. Honestly, I do think year after year with Heupel, our defense has been slowly getting better. Like year one, I'll agree, our defense was bad. It was terrible. Second year, it was still bad, but I did think it was better in the second season than it was in the first season. And then third year, I think it's going to be better this year, especially the front seven. You have Aaron Beasley coming back, who I think he's going to lead this defense, man. I'm very excited about him. You're bringing back some pretty good guys on the defensive line, and secondary. You bring back Wesley Walker, who's shown some flashes last season, I believe, and also bring back Danico Slaughter, who's also had some good plays. You also bring in a lot of defensive backs from the class of last season, which we needed that. Hopefully, they can get some experience this upcoming season. And hopefully they could shine. I don't think they're going to shine this year because they're freshmen. Maybe they could shine, but let's not put a lot of pressure on them because they're just freshmen. Speaking of freshmen, a lot of Vol fans are actually high on one freshman, and that's Arian Carter. And I can understand why. The dude's huge. He's going to be playing linebacker for us, and a lot of Vol fans have high hopes for him. And I think he could probably do well. I think we'll probably see him. I think we'll probably see him make some plays this upcoming season. But yeah, I think our defense. I think our defense will be better this upcoming season, especially the front seven. Secondary, I feel like it'll be a little bit better. I mean, it's still gonna be bad, but I think it'll be a little bit better.
Right. Well, that's a very good way of putting it. So expect for the ceiling for Joe Milton to be high this year. I'm looking forward to seeing whether or not he can, live up to the potential that everybody's talking about. A lot of doubters, of course. That comes with being a Tennessee fan. A lot of doubters. One-trick pony. You're not going to show up next year. Yeah.
Georgia fans.
Yeah. Well, it's trust me, it ain't just them this time. I'm with you on the whole Georgia fans like to do this and this and this, but this time I think it's a lot more than Georgia fans. It's so bad that Florida fans have convinced themselves that they're being Tennessee and Gainesville. So best of luck with them.
Yeah, I got into an argument with a couple Florida fans on Twitter because they think they're beating Tennessee. I don't care. I'm just bookmarking their tweets, and when Tennessee beats them, I'll quote tweet their tweet and post the final score on them, and make them look and expose them for the fools that they are.
The tomfoolery. Yeah, I hear you on that.
Yeah.
Well, before we finish the show, Janine Senti says, how do you think Tennessee will play their first game against Virginia? Well, yeah, I think they'll dominate in that game. I think they'll handle Virginia pretty easily. Expect a lot of, pass attempts from Joe Milton. They're going to try and stretch them out. They're basically going to do what we've done to teams like UT Martin and, just kind of do whatever they want to. By some point in the third quarter, I imagine that Nico might get some playing time. A lot of the freshman starters, I think, are going to see the field. We're going to see a lot of deep pass attempts, and we're probably going to have to hear from the naysayers about Tennessee's so unsportsmanlike. They put up 70 points on Virginia. It's not fair. So we're gonna have to hear a whole lot of that this season. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But
oh, you hurt Virginia's feelings. You scored 100 on Virginia. You ain't allowed to do that.
Yeah, if I had some Kleenex in here, I'd throw it at this camera right now. Tell you, get some Kleenex. But I unfortunately do not have any of that in this room. I'm getting ready to pack up for the trip tomorrow, which is something I pretty much have to do right now. I got to go to bed super early tonight because I got to wake up at the booty crack of dawn in order to head my way out to Greenville and then Cherokee. So that's how it is. It was a great show, Lucas. Fantastic show. Got to talk some football with you. Got to cover some topics. We'll cover a lot more next week because obviously by that point we'll have seen some football. We'll be able to talk about some of the things that we saw, as well as things we're going to see in the future, as there are plenty of games to talk about. So I'm excited to get into that. And we shall see how it goes.
Yeah, hopefully Navy beats Notre Dame week 1, so we'll have something really interesting to talk about.
Yeah. I will probably have to apologize to friggin' Ohio State fans because I have them losing to Notre Dame, and they are hurt. They are hurt about it, I'm telling you. So
yeah, if Notre Dame loses to Navy, you're just gonna have to come on here and I guess just make a full apology video to Ohio State fans
and Clemson as well. Did I have? No, I had Clemson beating Notre Dame. It was Ohio State, and then it was some other team whatever. Point is, I'll have to come on here and tell people that I was wrong about Notre Dame. And the same goes with a lot of teams on here that I was really high on. I'm really high on LSU, Florida State. I'm high on South Carolina. So if they end up crapping the bed, especially once I do my pick'ems, I will have to pay the price for it. So that's all there is to it. That's part of doing predictions. Whenever you get them wrong, you got to hear about it. So.
Yeah.
Well, I will hear all about it. Like I tell Jalen Hyatt, let him know about it. So that's all there is for today, Lucas. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the show. Thanks for being on here with me for another grand old episode of the VOLSTAR podcast.
No problem, man.
And for the rest of you in the comment section, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you sub up to Squidtard and Squidtard Sports and Lucas Sharp too if you have not already. We've created some great content on here, and there's by this point 6 or 5 more days till the college football season kicks off. So expect us to talk about a lot of that next week. And so until we get to that, we shall see you all next week here on the VOLSTAR podcast. And as always, power to Tardaria, and of course, go Vols!